Okay, welcome everyone. We thank you for all making the time to attend and be here for our webinar in association with Fugro, learning how to implement RealWear headsets in your organization, a look at how Fugro implemented remote expert into the operations. We're very happy to be here today and have you all with us. Before we start, let me briefly introduce myself. I'm not on camera, but my name is Mark and I manage the marketing communications of VR Expert. In front of you, I hope you can see Alex. He's he's the head of business development for VR Expert. And lastly, our key speaker, Duncan Allen, global program manager for remote operations and support services for Fugro. I think he can better explain his role shortly. Today's program will take approximately 45 minutes, 30 minutes for talking and 15 minutes for your questions and answers. We'll start with a small introduction to VR Expert, and then an introduction to the RealWear HMT1, followed by Fugro and Remote Expert, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. With that being, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask during the webinar, and we'll collect them and answer them at the end. But please, if you can, let us know who you're directing the question to make it a little bit easier for the moderators. With that being said, I'm going to give the floor to Alex, and I hope you all enjoy.
Thank you for that introduction, Mark. So let me start off by a short introduction of our company. So we are VR Expert. We are a full-service virtual reality and augmented reality company. We are based in Utrecht in the Netherlands, where we have a team of about 30 people dedicated to hardware. So when I say full service, we basically do three things. First, we're hardware distributors. So for RealWear, we are a gold level supplier. We hold stock in our office in the Netherlands and are able to distribute this worldwide. Second, we provide services. You can think of installation service, but also support service for devices. And we try to support you in enrolling a remote expert toolkit within your organization, hence this webinar today. And then finally, we're software specialists. So we're very aware of what type of software is available for smart glasses. We have also created some software of our own, also for Fugro, and we'll talk a bit about that later. What we try to do is we guide you in selecting the right software. So let me start off by giving you guys a short introduction of why you would use a remote expert toolkit. So on the top of this slide, you see the fields where we see these toolkits being used the most. So what we see a lot is maintenance, also definitely inspections, assisting your frontline workers, so give support, and also provide trainings, so wear a headset where people can train you. In all cases, it will the added value for your organization are these three lower points in the slide. So first, assist your frontline workers. You can assist them while they do actions, so you can give them more knowledge and assist them with any issues that might arise. Second, decrease your response and repair time. We often see that an expert can already tell a lot about an issue by simply looking at it. Then next, a remote expert toolkit can also assist in solving the issue by some of the functionalities that come with it. You can think of AR annotations, but also simply sending a guide which they can see. And then finally, but definitely very relevant in this Corona time, is a better use of a specialist time. So a specialist would not have to travel to the site anymore. He can simply work from home, which will save both travel time and travel costs. So let me give you guys a short introduction about the RealWear HMT1 smart glass. So the RealWear HMT1 is the most rugged smart glasses available for enterprises. The added value of a smart glass is that you keep your hands free at all time. So the camera will be located next to your eyes, filming from a point of view, so the expert can see what you are seeing, and the display will be in front of your eyes. And from there, you can read information, but also, for example, receive AR annotations. The RealWear HMT1 can be differentiated from other smart glasses based on 3 points. The first one is that it's completely 100% hands-free. Other smart glasses often have other types of to navigate, but the RealWear HMT1 only works with a voice-based operating system. This works really great, which has to do with the many microphones that are on the device and also the noise cancellation technology that's inside of it, making sure that background noise is not an issue. So you keep your hands free at all time. The second unique thing about the RealWear is that it's completely designed for industrial use. So it goes together with a lot of PPE material. In this slide, you can see how you can clip it onto a hard hat, for example, but it also goes together with safety glasses, ear defenders, and many other PPE material. Another aspect where you can really see that they are focused on industrial use is some smart features they built in. For example, there's a battery with about 4 to 6 hours of battery life, but after that, you can simply swap it and it will even stay on while you swap it. You can also think of strong audio coming out of it, but you also have the option of plugging in earbuds, making sure that background noise is once again not a problem. You can also think of turning on the flashlight remotely, so you can say it by voice commands or do it through the software. So when you're on your back laying underneath a machine, for example, simply turn it on by a voice command. Then the final unique point about the RealWear is that it's the most rugged smart glass available for enterprises. It's really a robust product. So you can use it outside since sunlight is not an issue for the display. It's water resistant, so also water will not, rain will not be an issue. Dust tight, so dust is not an issue. You can drop it up till 2 meters, and it goes from a temperature range from -20 to +50 degrees Celsius. So almost suited for any environment, with the exception of explosion hazardous environments. And there you could use an ATEX version. Good to know is that all these points under robustness are included in your warranty, which standard is 2 years. So it's great to know that you have a smart glass that when you drop it, it should still work. If it does not work, you get a new device. So next to the hardware, you would always need some type of software. So the program through which you will be calling. On the top of this slide, we have set the basic structure of software, how that would work. Good to know is that your data, so the video images, the AR annotations you'll be sending from computer to smart glass and the other way around, go through the server of the software provider. So for example, if you use Microsoft Teams, your data will be going through a Microsoft server. The reason we tell you this has to do with the privacy of data, which was very relevant in the Fugro case, on which I will elaborate a bit later on. Good to know is that the RealWear is an open Android device. Since it's an open Android device, there's a lot of software available. We like to differentiate software on 2 points, accessibility and functionalities. When I say accessibility, I'm talking in terms of, do I have to create new licenses? Would there be cost attached? Or can I, for example, use existing licenses, which would be the case, for example, Microsoft Teams? In terms of functionalities, we talk a bit more about, for example, the AR annotations you can make. So you can draw on a video screen and the worker can see that in real time, but also simple functionalities like sharing a PDF, annotating pictures and recording the whole video session and storing this in a library. So these are the 2 points that we like to differentiate the software on. It's a very wide spectrum, and it goes all the way from very limited but accessible software to very extensive software. It even goes about Internet of Things, 2D mapping. So let me continue about the Fugro case, because in the case for Fugro, they asked us to build some software of their own because they had 2 specific requests. The first request was that the software would work with poor internet conditions, since they are using this expert toolkit offshore. So what we did is that we built this software for them, and we made sure that the bandwidth gets changed automatically. The second unique thing, and the third point in the slide, is that on-premise hosting is possible. So in the case for Fugro, it was really important that nobody would have access to the server like described in the previous slide. So what we did is we built in the slide within their own IT environment and protected it and making sure that nobody has access to their server. Then finally, the Fugro Remote Expert software has a lot of standard functionalities, which we also see in other types of software, like an easy device management system, which you can see here, simple login by QR codes, so you will not have to fill in all your credentials, and the AR markers and PDFs like I mentioned before. So guys, it's time to look at the Fugro case, but before we talk to Duncan, I would like to show you a short video and give you an introduction about the Fugro case.
Fugro is the world's leading geodata specialist and operates around the world, often in remote locations and extreme weather conditions. Having access to remote locations in real time is key for delivering of faster and better solutions to our clients. One of our solutions that supports remote working is Remote Expert. Our proprietary software establishes a real-time video and audio connection between an on-site operator and office client or expert. The RealWear HMT1 headset meets our work and safety requirements. It allows us to work safely in extreme offshore conditions. The VR Expert team offered great advice in choosing the right hardware and accessories. They also helped us validating our case with extensive testing. Remote Expert can be used by our clients for safety checks and fast decision making in the face of time-critical scenarios. Remote Expert can also be used by off-site experts to provide advice and guidance to on-site operators. In the end, we purchased over 30 RealWare units, which were shipped all over the world. We are confident in our collaboration and looking forward to expanding business together in the future. From ship to shore or worksite to office, Remote Expert allows us to connect and unlock insights anywhere at any time.
Okay, so we're very happy to have Duncan Allen from Fugro here today. Duncan, could you start off by giving a short introduction of what Fugro does as a company and what your role is within the company?
I will do. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak today. It's much appreciated. Fugro, very excited to be able to use the systems that have been put in place. So I work for Fugro. And Fugro is the world-leading independent provider of geodata to provide a safe and livable world. Geodata is required to build and maintain almost every structure from initial concept all the way through to retain the land back to its original condition. We do this across land and marine environments from multiple platforms, from satellite to deep sea observations, and collecting data across this environment from space to deep beneath our feet. My name is Duncan Allen. My current role within Fugro is a global program manager for remote operations and support services. This is predominantly working towards changing the way that Fugro work by driving out the delivery of functional remote operation capabilities and associated 24/7 support services. And this includes the Remote Expert technology that I've been invited to speak about today.
Great. Thank you for your introduction. Could you elaborate a bit on how Fugro enables remote expert work, and how did you end up with a smart glass solution?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. How do we come about requiring the smart glass? That was because we had a need. We had a challenge internally. So our challenge internally was that we needed to support our vessels, and we needed to support the networking systems that we put in place. We need to support our teams, and we needed to put some technology in place to support our teams offshore or in land locations. So we've been rolling out remote operations equipment within our business capability within our business for the last 10 years or so. And as technology and communications have matured, we've strived to bring those forward to enable our work. And so we picked this technology to help fix a need within the company, but from then we've then also be able to utilize this to support our clients as well. It was identified that, yeah, having key experts in one place, in the right place at the right time was absolutely key, because it enabled us to optimize how we used our people at the end of the day. So yeah, if we could bring the expert to the job site, enable them to see in detail and communicate with on-site personnel, this was a game changer for us.
Okay, great. Thank you for that answer. So if I understand correctly, there was really a need within Fugro to get the right information or the right expert to give support to the right location. And that's where a smart glass could have a role. Could you elaborate a bit on the process of integrating a remote expert toolkit like the ones you are using within your organization? So did you guys do a lot of testing? Could you give us some insight on that?
Yeah, so that's another great question. Yeah, we did do a lot of testing. Because we had to validate that it would work within our systems, that it would work in the offshore environment where communication is quite challenging. Utilizing satellite communications to stream video and audio communication has always been a challenge. And so yeah, there had to be extensive testing and picking of the right technology, and also the development of the software, which is where VR Expert came into play to develop those systems for us. Because yeah, predominantly a lot of our work is in the marine environment. So yeah, so we had to do a significant amount of testing, but then once we've done all that testing to validate that it would work and that we could use it, it was then a case of setting up the systems to deploy it. So as mentioned, with over 30, with nearly 40 kits of equipment, available now within the company that have been deployed to fleet vessels and to various locations around the world. But it's not just the logistics of sending those out to the various vessels, it's the deployment. So making sure that when they get there, they can be turned on, plugged in, and work in a seamless fashion. So there's a support structure that went in behind that as well, along with the procurement side of it, and then also the training side of it, because we can't just expect it to turn up on board a vessel or any given world location and just expect people to understand what it is and why it is. So we've had to explain internally a solid media campaign within the company to explain what it is, and also a training program to say this is what it is and this is how you use it. This is how you turn it on. This is how you turn it off. This is how the tools work. And so yeah, so the initial use case was to use it internally, but now we use it externally with our clients as well to bring them to location. So we also have to show them the very intuitive ways as to how to use it, and that's one of the key things. Like, it's quite intuitive to how to use these systems. It's just that initial using it effectively.
Great, thank you for that answer. So if I understand correctly, you guys did a lot of testing first to make sure that it's what you're looking for. Then second, you brought structures in place that make sure that you're able to roll out a solution like that. And finally, also inform everybody that a toolkit with like this is available within the organization.
Yeah.
So very clear answer to my question. Could you give us perhaps some more insight on the biggest challenges that you faced during this rollout?
So as with all remote operations things in the world, I've always gone by the line of it's comms. So it's and comms delineates how things talk. So whether it be via Wi-Fi, 4G, VSAT communications, how people talk to each other and how information is communicated to other people. So one of the largest challenges is communicating the change. So it's telling people that there's a new tool available. This is how they can use it, and this is the value that it will bring to them, and changing the way that people work. So that's always a challenge in everything everything, and that was a good change management process was undertaken to do that. But also, yeah, it was the other side of communication. So making sure that the system would work offshore. So how it dealt with the VSAT channels, how it dealt with the networking systems in place, where data landed, what the latencies were, and how this will affect it. So yeah, there were some fairly significant challenges which have all been overcome, and that to the positive of the people, our colleagues within Fugro, and also with the support of VR Expert as well.
Great, thank you for your answer. So if I understand correctly, the key challenge was informing people on that, changing their ways they work. So making sure that they would use a toolkit. And then there were some practical challenges which you overcome all of them. So that's great. After rolling out a solution like this, what in your experience were the main benefits of having a remote expert toolkit in the form of a smart glass?
So yeah, that's brilliant. Then what are the benefits? But yeah, there has to be a benefit to everything that we do. So yeah, the benefits are far and wide. And in most things that we do, there are 4 key benefits. Yes, there's lower HSE exposure. So yeah, not having people on vessels or in hazardous locations. If we don't have to send people to various places, that's a lower environment. That improves the environmental sustainability. There's not as much CO2 being used to get people to where they have to be. Also, optimization of resources. So here, having the right person in the right place at the right time is key, and it allows us to, especially in the times we have right now, putting the right person in the right place is challenging. So having this equipment is perfect. And also, because we can talk to somebody and have a video stream, we can get faster insights to data to support the operations, but also for our clients to see what's going on in field and what's going on in their operations. Got quite a good use case actually of where we have used it recently. So we had an issue on a vessel in the Far East. There was an issue on a vessel, and to get the engineer out to look at this issue would have taken 14 days because the engineer would have had to have been in quarantine. And then the engineer would have been on site for maybe a few days, and then had to have traveled back again. So another 14 days worth of that engineer's time. So that engineer would have been out of play for 28 days plus the time they were on board before. All at not an insignificant cost, but also the fact they're unavailable was quite an issue. But because we had the equipment on site in location, we were able to deploy the headset, connect with our third-party supplier to say, have a look at this, use this system. And so therefore we didn't have to wait those 14 days for the engineer to arrive. which not only helped that person and that third-party supplier, it also enabled Fugro to not have 14 days worth of downtime. So we weren't waiting on that vessel to be available. So yeah, and the cost in the saving with those 14 days more than covers for all the deployment of all of the headsets that we've put out around the field. There are loads of more. We've also been using it with a client recently where the clients have been working from their homes in various parts of the world and then utilizing the headset to talk to a vessel in West Africa, where there would normally be a client on board, but now because of the technology we've put in place, they don't have to be there, but they're able to engage with walking around on deck to do HSE inspections or to monitor operations, to engage with meetings better, to engage with their data. So it's been quite a key factor, not only for Fugro, but also for our clients.
Perfect. Thank you for that first-hand insight. That's really great. So it's really a tool that can assist in getting the right knowledge to the right place. And in doing that, it can eliminate a lot of costs. Like
Yes.
in the use case with the waiting. So you can imagine that would save 14 days of waiting time. So that's significant. So in the end, how were you able to implement the updated remote expert solution? And what is your experience with it so far in actually using it?
And so with regards to using it, we've had many positive stories for how we've been using it internally and externally with our clients. So yeah, the fact that it can provide that one-to-one call, it does work on varying connectivity levels, the augmented reality system, the augmented support, so we can take imagery and ask people to look at specific things. Yeah, the toolkit that's been available has been of great use, and yeah, we've got lots of additional requests coming in now for additional things. Now people have started to use it, which is great to see, because yeah, these developments shouldn't stand still and stay where they are. So we're currently feeding those back into VR Expert at the moment to hopefully make the product more to improve the product further than we are right now. Sorry, what was the other part of the question again? Sorry.
So how were you able to implement
yeah.
remote? You already gave some insight, but if you could elaborate a bit on that would be great.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I suppose one of the two key parts here is the technical support available and also the training. So on the training side, yeah, we've developed a training course on how to use the equipment, which is available to all our colleagues within Fugro, so they can access it and they can find out how to use it, how to turn it on, how to connect to their various systems, how to make calls, how to record with it. So that's been key, so that people know how to use it when they see it. There's also the deployment side, so knowing the technical background, so knowing how to do basic support internally as well, how to deploy the equipment to site, so how it's shipped, how it's prepared, how it's packed, how it connects to the servers, and managing our own servers. Yeah, all of those things. We've had to go through various pain points to do that and utilize various lines of support within the company to do it. But yeah, now it's all in place and up and running. It's been a massive success, frankly.
Great. It's good to hear that you guys are so positive about that. And so really a step that had to be taken was equip your personnel with the knowledge they need to use a remote expert toolkit like this.
Yes.
So it's really important that you get your personnel up and running. Then I would like to talk about some of the other applications. In the case of Fugro, the main focus was really giving remote expertise. But Duncan, do you perhaps see any other applications where smart glasses could be used for example, giving trainings to personnel or performing inspections?
Yes, so yeah, we do see additional uses. So like I mentioned, we're using it to support our own vessels and remote locations, and using it to speak to our clients. Well, there's other uses that we have in mind. So we're constantly innovating within Fugro and bringing out our own products. And so we also see this as a method for bringing our developers to site without them having to leave their development centers, so they can get a feel for how their innovations are being deployed and where they're being located, and if they need to support them for any particular reason. This also goes with regards to training as well, where we may not be able to get staff to office locations to see equipment, to utilize it and handle it before they go off to their work sites. They get to see it, they get to speak to somebody in real time and discuss how it'll all work and how it will fit together. So yeah, there's quite a lot going on there with regards to that, and also yeah, training in general, how and the different methods we can use this for training, and it's an ongoing discussion within the company right now.
Okay, great to hear. So besides the remote expert use case, there's definitely some wider range of applications that a smart glass solution could be used for within Fugro. So that's really positive. My final question would be regarding the service department of Fugro. How do you see the integration of AR smart glasses? What will it mean for the future of the service department of Fugro?
So I mean that the service department can be in any place at any time. So like I mentioned earlier on, it's having the right expert in the right place at the right time, and also optimizing how they're used so there's less travel time between locations. They're always available, they're always contactable. So we're able to centralize these better and bring the right experts to the right places. So it is about having the right experts. But equally, because we've got it, we can reduce downtime, like we mentioned, we can reduce CO2 emissions, we can reduce HSE exposure. So yeah, it is a game changer within the company for how we utilize it and how support will be provided and is being provided within the company now.
That's great. I think very clear answers. I want to thank you so much for the clear description of your guys' use case and give us some first-hand insight on enrolling a smart glass solution like this. So before we go to the Q&A session, I would like to inform all our viewers that it's definitely possible to try a device for yourself. If you would like to use one of our trial devices, please send an email to sales@vrexpert.nl, like you see listed in this slide, and we can get you a trial device for free, pre-installed with some software. We also help you on the way with some training, and then you can test one of these remote expert solutions for yourself. Please note that the trial devices are limited to the Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. But feel free to reach out for us also outside of these areas. Now I think it's time to go to the Q&A, and let's see if people have some questions for us.
Thank you very much, guys, and thank you for the lovely talk. One of the questions that we did get is, what was the response from the operators on the first time they actually used the toolkit? And was it easy for them to use it on their first time? Did it take them many trainings? And what kind of feedback did you get? Or was there anything unexpected?
And I think that's a question for Duncan.
Definitely, yeah. So it's a great question actually. Yeah, like I mentioned, it's all about that change management process and the training to be put in place. It's quite an intuitive system. The first time I picked up, I kind of had a fairly crude idea how to use it and launch straight into it. But yeah, people have been using it. Initially, there's a bit of hesitancy to new technology because this is the way we've always done it. What's this for? But once people have got to use it and got to understand how it works, there's been lots of positivity back about it. In some places, they're using it very regularly to undertake various operations. So yeah, it's about having the training in place. It's about becoming comfortable with it, and then as people use it, they become more confident and more comfortable with it, and then they start providing back feedback as to things they like, things they don't like, things that could change. Which is brilliant. It's the way these things will evolve and progress.
Okay. Very good to hear. There's one question from TV for you, Alex. Do you also operate in other European countries outside of the Netherlands?
Definitely. Our focus is on the whole of Europe. So we can definitely provide the solution within Europe, and we can also operate worldwide, but our focus is within Europe.
Thank you, Alex. Then another question for you, Duncan. From Cian Crowley. I'm sorry if I butchered the name. He says, you mentioned having the feedback to improve the technology so far. What kind of improvements have been suggested and or implemented since being used at Fugro for the RealWear, for example?
Thanks very much for your question, Sean. Yeah, that's great. So what the suggestions that have been, the areas that have been suggested so far, so it's being able to do more with the augmented reality side. So currently there's just a pointer that's put on the screen. People like the addition to kind of draw a bit more and be able to add text potentially. The addition to be able to put to add more documentation to so people can see documents in real time through the VR expert software that we've had made for us. There's a text to speak function that's just recently been asked for, so it's not been implemented or requested yet. But yeah, so instead of there is a challenge with hearing things, you'll be able to see the text on the screen. So yeah, there's a few requests that have come in, and yeah, we'll be feeding those onto VR Expert in due course.
Another question for you, Duncan. This is from someone who couldn't attend. His name is Jan. That's all I have. He said, can you tell us a bit more about a number of use cases? So you mentioned 2 use cases so far, and how you helped clients or partners on these specific in another specific example.
So I've probably got about 6 case stories so far, that I talk about regularly. So yeah, there's the time when we had to do some work on a vessel. There's the work for a client. We recently had a vessel in dry dock where the vessel superintendent wasn't able to attend due to COVID restrictions, but utilizing this equipment, they were able to work out where to do grip blasting. That had a massive impact because yeah, every second counts on a dry docking situation. Where else? Yeah, so we've had some factory acceptance test work done where we've had commendations from various people for implementing new technology in this respect. So yeah, the use cases are pretty wide with regards to the case stories we've got back on that. But yeah, use cases. So yeah, it's the service support, it's training, it's client interaction, those sorts of areas. Yeah, that's kind of where we're mainly focusing right
now. Then the one other question from someone who's not able to attend. This is from Lizan. Sorry about the name. She asked, what was your, I'm assuming it's a she. She asked, what was your eye-opening moment about the value of remote experts?
The eye-opening moment. So it was that first call, actually. It was making that first call to a vessel and actually having a walk around the vessel, a vessel that I'd not been to before, where I needed some support, where I needed to understand a location better before I could suggest some additional features. And having that call with somebody and being able to walk around a vessel, speak to them very clearly, take imagery, ask them to look closer at locations. That was the eye-opening moment when I could actually do that. I tell a story about when I first started in the industry. I realized I'd done slightly the wrong degree. Not that I didn't want to be what I was doing at the time, but I thought I could do this from home. There was no reason why I had to be at sea to be doing the role that I'm doing. And it's taken this time now for the technology and the communication systems to come together. And so being able to actually do it and use this has been, yeah, it's been an amazing experience to be able to do this.
If does the attendees have any other questions? Otherwise, we can shortly wrap it up. If not, then I think thank you very much, everyone, for being here. If you have any other questions or you think of any more in the coming days, please don't hesitate to either email Duncan at d.allen@fugro.com or email us at sales@vrexpert.nl. We're happy to take any questions, answer you, help you with anything that you might encounter or be interested in. With that, I'd really like to thank both of you for being here, Alex and Duncan. You guys have been amazing. And I hope that we've been able to provide you guys with some interesting information or something that you could actually learn and take forward in your day. And hopefully see you in any future webinars. Thank you much for all your time, guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.